He had been living in their basement for 3 days, watching us sleep, listening to us laugh, waiting for the perfect moment, and I had no idea. My name is Sarah. I was 21 years old when this happened, a college student, a babysitter, just a girl trying to pay her rent. I had no idea that accepting a simple babysitting job would change every single thing about how I see the world. This is the story of the worst night of my life, and I need you to hear every single detail. 3 years ago, I was a junior at State University studying psychology. Like most college students, I was completely broke. My scholarship covered tuition, but rent, food, and books were always a struggle. So I babysat. I had been doing it since high school, and I was good at it. Parents trusted me. Kids liked me. The wealthy families in Riverside Estates paid the best, a gated community about 20 minutes from campus. Perfect lawns, perfect houses, perfect lives. Or so I thought. That's where the Hendersons lived. The Hendersons were exactly what you'd expect from Riverside Estates. Mr. Henderson was a tech executive. Mrs. Henderson was always perfectly dressed, perfectly polite, perfectly composed. Their house was massive, 3 stories, stone facade, windows everywhere. They had 2 children. James was 7, dark hair, obsessed with dinosaurs. Jessica was 5, big brown eyes, never went anywhere without her stuffed rabbit. They were sweet kids, easy kids, and they paid $50 an hour. For a college student, that was everything. Thursday afternoon, Mrs. Henderson called me. "Are you available this weekend? David and I have a conference in Chicago, Friday afternoon through Sunday evening." I did the math instantly. $50 an hour, 30 hours, $1,500. "Absolutely," I said. "Perfect, the kids love you, this should be easy." Easy. I keep thinking about that word now. Easy. Friday afternoon, I drove through the gates of Riverside Estates. The Henderson house sat at the end of the cul-de-sac like something from a magazine. James and Jessica were already at the door before I even knocked. Mrs. Henderson handed me a credit card and a list of instructions. Mr. Henderson brought down his suitcases and nodded at me. "They'll be fine. They always are with you." They said goodbye to their children and drove away. And just like that, I was alone. In a house the size of a small hotel, with 2 children, and someone I didn't know about yet. Friday night was completely normal. We ordered pizza, extra cheese crust because why not? We played video games in the living room. Jessica kept driving into walls and giggling. James beat me 3 times in a row. After dinner, I carried a sleeping Jessica upstairs to her pink room. Very, very pink. Walls, bedding, curtains, everything. James negotiated one more game before bed. At 9, I tucked him in under his glow-in-the-dark stars. I went back downstairs, cleaned up, settled into the guest room. Somewhere in that house, a man was in the basement, listening to all of it, and I fell asleep thinking this was the easiest money I had ever made. Saturday morning, James jumped on my bed at 7:30 a.m. demanding pancakes. We spent the morning in the kitchen. Chocolate chip pancakes for James, heart-shaped ones for Jessica. We ate on the patio in the sunshine, then hide and seek in the backyard. Jessica behind a bush, found her in 2 minutes. James in the garden shed, hiding behind the lawnmower. Everything was perfect, the kind of perfect that makes you lower your guard completely. That's exactly what I did. Somewhere beneath our feet, he was still there, waiting, patient, watching the clock. Around 4 in the afternoon, the kids settled in front of a movie. I ordered Chinese food and was on the phone with the restaurant when I heard it. A voice, coming from the intercom system. The Hendersons had one of those whole house systems. Press a button in any room and your voice comes through speakers everywhere. The voice was small, like a child. "Hello? Hello?" I froze. Both kids were in the living room. I could see them. Neither of them had moved. I told myself it was the house settling. Old wiring, my imagination. I told myself a lot of things that afternoon. None of them were true. 30 minutes later, the food arrived. I was setting everything out on the counter when I heard it. Click. That small mechanical click the intercom makes when someone presses the button. Then breathing. Not talking, just breathing. Heavy, deliberate, slow. My heart stopped. I walked to the intercom panel on the wall. It had buttons for every room: master bedroom, kitchen, living room, garage, guest room, basement. The light next to basement was lit up. Someone was pressing the button in the basement. I stared at that light for what felt like forever. Then I walked to the basement door. Closed. I had never opened it. The Hendersons never mentioned it. I reached for the doorknob. Click. The intercom again, but this time it wasn't breathing. This time it was a voice. Deep, male, calm. I know you're there. I let go of the doorknob so fast I stumbled backwards. The intercom went silent. The basement light stayed on. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. Someone was in the basement. Someone had been in this house the entire time. I ran to the living room, trying to keep my voice steady. James looked up from the movie. Something in my face must have terrified him. "What's wrong?" he whispered. Before I could answer, I heard it. A door, the basement door, opening. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, coming up the stairs. Something primal took over. I grabbed both children. "Run!" I didn't explain. There was no time. I grabbed James with one arm and Jessica with the other, and I ran. Through the kitchen, through the hallway, out the front door, into the yard. My phone was in my hand, and I was already screaming before the operator even answered. 911, what is your emergency? "There is someone in the house! There is someone in the house! Please help us!" "Ma'am, I need you to stay calm. What is your address?" I was crying so hard I could barely speak. 1247 Oakmont Drive, Riverside Estates. Please, there are children. Please, hurry. We stood in the front yard, the three of us, James clinging to my leg, Jessica screaming into my shoulder. And then the outdoor speakers crackled. The intercom reached outside, too. I had forgotten that. His voice came through calm and almost gentle. "Jessica, come play with me." Jessica's scream was the most terrifying sound I have ever heard. Pure animal terror from a 5-year-old. I held them both so tight. "It's okay," I kept saying. "The police are coming. It's okay. I've got you." But my voice was shaking, and somewhere inside that beautiful, perfect house, he was still pressing that button, still breathing into the speaker, still waiting, until the sirens finally filled the street. 3 patrol cars, officers with guns drawn going through the front door, an ambulance, a fire truck, the entire cul-de-sac lit up red and blue. A female officer wrapped a blanket around the 3 of us. James had stopped crying. He was just staring. That blank stare scared me almost as much as everything else. After what felt like hours, an officer came out. "We found him." My legs nearly gave out. "He's in custody. You're all safe now." 4 words. You're all safe now. I have never felt less safe in my entire life. They brought him out in handcuffs. I made the mistake of looking at him. He was maybe 40 years old, dirty clothes, hollow eyes, but he was calm. That was the worst part. He wasn't struggling. He wasn't afraid. He looked at me, and he smiled. Not an angry smile, not a threatening smile, just a smile, like we shared a secret. An officer pushed him into the back of a patrol car. "How long was he in there?" I asked. "At least 3 days, maybe longer. He broke in through a basement window while the family was away last week. Just never left." 3 days. He had been there when I arrived. He had been there during the pizza, during the video games, during the pancakes, during hide and seek, the whole time, just beneath our feet, listening, waiting. "What was he going to do?" I whispered. The officer looked at the children, then back at me, and said nothing. The Hendersons flew home that night. Mrs. Henderson held her children and sobbed. Mr. Henderson shook my hand and couldn't speak. They offered me money. I couldn't take it. My roommate picked me up because I couldn't drive. When I got back to my apartment, I locked every door, every window. I checked the closets, under the bed, behind the shower curtain. I checked everything. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't sleep properly for months. The man is in prison now. The Hendersons moved away from Riverside Estates the following year. James and Jessica are okay. At least that's what I tell myself. But I'm not okay. 3 years later, and I still check every room I walk into. I still notice basement doors. I still listen for sounds that don't belong. And sometimes, late at night, when the house is quiet, I hear it. That small mechanical sound. Click. And I stop breathing, because somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm still standing in that kitchen, staring at that basement light, still glowing. And I'm hearing that voice, calm, patient, certain. I know you're there.